Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're talking astrology and relationship compatibility. It's kind of a general view on the zodiac signs and compatibility. Of course, when you look at horoscopes and stuff like that, there's a lot of emphasis placed on the sun sign, but the reality is that any two sun signs can get along. It's not that the sun is irrelevant, but actually that it's relevant on a much deeper level than just, oh, does this sign get along with that sign, And there's also this idea in an astrological and non-astrological sense that opposites attract, In an astrological sense, of course, two opposing signs have sort of shadow personalities of each other. So they really give the other person what that one person is lacking. So Cancer and Capricorn couldn't seem more different, but in fact, Cancer is kind of the quintessential maternal style of personality, whereas Capricorn is the quintessential masculine, paternal style of personality. On a very general level, of course, Leo and Aquarius couldn't seem more different, but in fact, they're opposites, and they have a lot to provide one another. So anyway, remember, sign is really, at best, the third most important thing in astrology. The first most important thing is aspects. Aspects are relationships between planets, whether it's in opposition, a square, a conjunction, an inconjunction, or trine or sextile or whatever it is. It's the case of two energies, two placements, that is, coming together and creating a new energy, and what that affords you in your natal chart or in synastry, between two people. Aspects are really where it's at. Second most important thing are houses. Houses are the contexts in which whichever planets are in that house are expressed. So it's the area of life in which that part of yourself, that planet shows up and is at home. And then third most important thing is sign. That's really your sign in any given placement is really just the style, your swagger, in which you express that thing, So just wanted to quickly address that, overemphasis that's placed on sun signs. Your sun is your ego, and it's not so much which signs, when it comes to relationship compatibility, it's not so much which signs your sun is in, but rather where the sun shows up in the other person's chart when you do a synastry chart, which is an overlay of two charts. Why? Because the sun, being the ego, should be comfortable, should be at rest, should be illuminated, should feel at home in some way. And there are certain houses in which that is better than other houses. And so since it is more important where, house-wise, your sun shows up in someone else's charts or their sun shows up in your chart, it's actually compatibility between sun and rising sign that is more important than compatibility between two sun signs. Any two sun signs can get along, but your rising sign, your ascendant, determines the entire orientation of your chart wheel. It decides which signs are in which houses, and the houses are ultimately more important. So, I was always thinking all right, so I'm a Cancer sun. I have a couple other Cancer placements. I have lots of Capricorn placements in my chart, including my rising and my moon and, Saturn. A couple of the outer planets. I'm like, why is it that I always attract Leo women? So, and I was thinking about this, and so once I started to get into synastry, I started to do research, partner's sun in blah, blah, blah house, you know? And so Leo, me being a Capricorn rising, but Capricorn in the 12th house rather than the first, means that Leo shows up in my 7th house. So I've had multiple Leo ex-girlfriends and flings with a few other Leo women. And the reason we got along is because, well, there's sort of this opposites attract energy between our rising sign, my rising sign, and their sun, because their sun shows up in my 7th house. 7th house is the area of, you know, really relationships, longevity, trust, intimate connections. And so Leo women are interesting because they tend to be very egotistical. They tend to not hide the fact that they are vetting you, and that they are really testing your masculinity to see if you are man enough, to see if you're competent enough and confident enough. Leo women are the most overt vetters in, you know, relationship situations. Even if it's just a hookup situation, like, they have to know that they can trust you. They have to feel as though they can really trust you. And so I've always put Leo women at ease, generally speaking. And it's because in the 7th house, their sun is very much at rest, very much at ease. And so, you know, apply this to your own chart if you're wondering. Like, look at, you know, 7th house really matters. 7th house is one of the best places to have your partner's sun in. Also, I was watching a Jewel Mayberry Truth and Aspect Astrology video. She was saying that also the 5th house, because it's the place of creativity and how you deal with and raise children and, you know, fun and sensuality, etc., that 5th house is a good place for someone's sun to show up, or vice versa. And same with 2nd house, because 2nd house deals with, like, material security and really how you deal with all of the practical basic necessities of life. So that's pretty much it. If you're looking at more a deeper, you know, single area of compatibility, don't look at your sun sign and the other person's sun sign. Look at your rising sign and the other person's sun sign and see which part of your chart their sun shows up in, which part of their chart, their rising sign and your sun sign, your sun shows up in. And that will give you a much better sense of how compatible you really are, at least on a more surface level. So anyway, that's my video today on that. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one, guys. Cheers.